Welcome to this biblical exposition. We're going to walk together through the book of Exodus today. And you know, this isn't just some ancient history lesson. We are literally tracing the believer's profound journey from the bondage of slavery straight into the very presence of God. Think of this as a spiritual map of your own life. Let's dive right in.
Right off the bat, notice how our story begins in the absolute depths of suffering. The book picks up right where Genesis left off. But now, a brand new Pharaoh is in power. Yet here's the beautiful part. Even when Israel is crushed under 400 years of brutal slavery, God hears, God remembers, and God is about to radically redeem them. He is intimately aware of their pain.
Section 1. Oppression and the Divine Name. This covers Exodus chapters 1 through 4.
If you look at Exodus chapter 1, verse 14, we read that the Israelites' lives, quote, bitter with hard bondage. Now, from a spiritual standpoint, we're really seeing Satan working through earthly rulers to crush God's people, trying to destroy the promised seed. And this intense bitterness, beautifully, yet tragically, foreshadows the bitter herbs of the Passover that's soon to come.
But here is how God responds to our deepest darkness. At the burning bush, God literally steps into Moses' fearful reality. When Moses asks for his name in Exodus 3:14, God declares, "I am who I am." He reveals himself as Yahweh. Now that isn't just a formal title. It means he is the absolute, self-existent, eternal, and covenant-keeping God of redemption, and he has come down to personally deliver his people.
Moving right along to Section 2, Plagues and the Passover Lamb. We'll be looking at Exodus chapters 5 through 12.
Okay, so we really need to talk about the 10 plagues, because these definitely were not random natural disasters. To really get this, you have to look at the historical culture. Egypt worshipped a massive pantheon of nature deities, right? As Exodus 12:12 declares, God was actually executing calculated judgments against those specific gods. When the Nile turns to blood in Exodus 7, God is directly judging Isis and the river gods. When frogs swarm the land in chapter 8, he's mocking Heket, the Egyptian goddess of birth. And when 3 days of pitch-black darkness hit in Exodus 10, Yahweh is completely overpowering Ra, their supreme sun god. It is a total cosmic showdown.
And here we find an absolutely incredible shadow-to-substance connection. In Exodus 12, God institutes the Passover. Every single household has to take an unblemished male lamb, kill it at twilight, and paint its blood on their doorposts. I mean, this flawlessly points forward to the New Testament sacrifice of Jesus Christ. Just as that physical blood protected the Israelites from the angel of death, Christ's sinless shed blood covers us, completely shielding us from eternal judgment. When God says, "When I see the blood, I will pass over you," it is the ultimate perfect picture of grace.
So they're led out of Egypt, but suddenly the people find themselves completely trapped. You've got the Red Sea right in front of them, and Pharaoh's 600 chariots charging in from behind. Panic sets in. But in Exodus 14:13, Moses utters this magnificent pastoral command. He says, "Do not be afraid, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord." He's basically telling them, cease your panicked striving, just watch the Lord miraculously fight for you.
That brings us to Section 3, Wilderness Testing and Leadership. This spans Exodus chapters 13 through 18.
Just 3 days into this journey, the Israelites arrive at Marah, and they immediately start complaining because the waters are bitter. But in Exodus 15:26, God shows Moses a tree. When he throws it into the water, the bitter becomes sweet. For us as believers, that tree is a beautiful type of the cross of Christ. It's really the only thing that can take the profound bitterness of our lives and turn it into sweetness, revealing God as Yahu Rafaka, the Lord who heals you.
And this brilliant wilderness classroom teaches us lessons we all have to learn. In Exodus 16, God provides manna from heaven. Why? To test their daily dependence on him. You couldn't hoard this stuff. It would literally rot. It required fresh faith every single morning. Then in Exodus 17, when they're dying of thirst, Moses strikes the rock at Horeb, and life-giving water flows out. 1 Corinthians 10:4 tells us that rock was a picture of Christ. So think about it. Where are you in your own wilderness journey today? Are you learning to rely on the true manna for your daily bread? Are you drinking from the rock who is Christ?
Amidst all these heavy spiritual tests, we actually get a practical masterclass in leadership too. In Exodus 18, Moses' father-in-law Jethro sees Moses just exhausting himself trying to judge the people all alone from morning to night. Jethro pulls him aside and advises him to select able, God-fearing men who hate covetousness and to delegate the smaller matters to them. There's a huge life lesson here for us. Even the greatest, most anointed leaders need the humility to accept wise counsel and share the burden.
Section 4, the Covenant at Mount Sinai, covering Exodus chapters 19 through 24.
I really want you to notice the profound order of grace here in Exodus 19. God did not give them the law while they were in Egypt and say, hey, obey this, and then I'll set you free. No way. He saved them completely by his grace first, brought them to himself, and then invited them into a covenant relationship. He calls them to be a special treasure, a kingdom of priests, mediating his glorious presence to the rest of the world. God's law is essentially a framework for freedom. In Exodus 20, God speaks the Ten Commandments directly to the people amid smoke and thunder. It's a terrifying, holy moment. These commands establish the spiritual and moral foundation for exclusive loyalty to the covenant. The first 4 dictate our vertical relationship toward God, demanding absolute reverence. The final 6 dictate our horizontal relationship toward our neighbor, demanding justice, purity, and truth.
After outlining detailed laws of justice and mercy, what we often call the Book of the Covenant, Moses actually ratifies the agreement in Exodus 24:8. He sprinkles blood on the altar and on the people, legally binding them to God. And what happens next is amazing. The 70 elders go up and actually see God, eating and drinking in his presence. It is a stunning, intimate foretaste of heavenly fellowship, and it was made possible only by the blood of the covenant.
Finally, Section 5, From Rebellion to Glory. Exodus chapters 25 through 40.
So, while Moses is up on the mountain receiving the blueprints for God's dwelling place, humanity's frailty is tragically exposed down in the valley. In Exodus 32, rejecting the invisible God who literally just saved them, the people demand a God they can see. Aaron fashions the golden calf and the people just plunge into dark immorality. The covenant is broken before the ink is even dry. But look at Moses' reaction. He steps in as a Christ-like mediator, praying a desperate prayer. He's actually willing to have his own name blotted out of God's book if it meant saving his rebellious flock.
In the bitter aftermath of this massive sin, God threatens to withdraw his presence. He says he'll send an angel, but he won't go with them himself. Moses flat out refuses to accept this. In Exodus 33:18, he prays the boldest of prayers. Please show me your glory. Moses intimately understood something crucial. Reaching the promised land meant absolutely nothing without the presence of the Lord. If we step back and look at this incredible timeline, we can see that the entire chronological arc of Exodus serves as a flawless pattern of salvation for every single believer. We start with the blood of the Passover lamb. We move into the wilderness where we learn to feed on the Word of God daily. We are shaped by His holy commands at Sinai, and ultimately, we're prepared to become a dwelling place for His Spirit.
And God's deep desire to dwell with us is perfectly mapped out in chapters 25 through 31. As the Spirit-filled artisans craft the tabernacle, we realize that every single curtain, altar, and golden vessel is a detailed architectural shadow pointing directly to Jesus Christ. The bronze altar, that's the ultimate place of sacrifice, the cross. The golden lampstand is Christ, the light of the world. The table of showbread is Christ our sustenance. And the ark's mercy seat represents the very throne of grace, accessible to us only because it is covered by blood. The book of Exodus reaches its breathtaking climax in chapter 40, verse 34. After all the rebellion, the incredible grace, and the careful construction, God doesn't wait for a finished, static temple made of stone. His dwelling glory actually descends upon a mobile sanctuary. He is actively traveling with his redeemed people right through the dust and heat of the wilderness. When they move, he moves. When they rest, he rests. You see, Exodus isn't merely a story of ancient liberation. It is the very pattern of your salvation. It traces your personal journey step by step, from the brutal slavery of sin straight into the eternal glory of God. So as you walk through your own wilderness of testing today, I want to leave you with this question. Are you relying fully on Jesus Christ, the true Passover Lamb, the one who tabernacles with you? Thank you for joining me in this exposition. May His presence guide your every step.